Hello, Stacy. Hello, sister.
Well, hello, dear sister.
Y'all, we're continuing with, we like our series, and we're continuing with the Rich series, which what a really genius time. I mean, I'm bragging on us for summer and the abundance and us calling in these experts to support all of us in wealth and generating wealth and our financial literacy and the energetics of abundance, of wealth legacy, whatever it might be. When you think of money, when you have anything around this that is money, we're bringing all of this to you. And today we have a very, very special guest. We're so excited to have Dr. Sharita Humphrey on with us today. Hello, sister.
Hello, sister. Thank you so much
I feel like
for
I
having
feel like
me.
we're sisters already because we just like have
Yes,
such
Absolutely,
good
absolutely,
conversations.
absolutely.
There might be retreats, y'all just don't know. But let me introduce
no, you
you
never
to,
know.
you
All
never
things
know.
in
Let me
store.
introduce y'all to Dr. Sharita Humphrey, who currently resides in Houston. We just learned. Look, y'all, she's nationally recognized and an award winning certified financial education instructor and small business advisor. We're very, very grateful to have you taken some time with us today to just share your wisdom with us all. There's so much that this woman has done, accomplished, and standing for in her life, for her family, for all the people in your life. She's been featured in a ton. It would like take too long for me to label all of them, in a ton of top tier media outlets, and a big time contributor in major publications. And we're just there's so much more, but we're just really thrilled to have you here. So welcome in.
Thank you. And I'm excited to be here. Like this conversation, I felt like literally has been a retreat from the time that I jumped in. It's been absolutely amazing. It's great to be able to connect with other sisters from other misters and mothers. I really feel a part of the sisterhood already.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you. We were feeling retreat vibes as soon as you popped on and these gorgeous eyes opened and said, "Oh yeah, she's our people. She's our sister. We see it. We see it. We see it." We're so grateful to have you here, and we know that you have so many exciting things going on in your life. I wonder if you could just share with us a little bit about your story. Like, how did you get to become this finance mogul who is changing so many lives and changing so many organizations?
So one of the things I will definitely have to say, Stacey, is that I did not come from wealth. We didn't have money conversations around the dinner table. But one of the things that I'd have to say is I think that important piece, although I wish I had that, was the reason why I'm here. Because I had to learn by trial, error, education, and everything in between. And so I think that kind of just resonates with your audience, especially women. We're doing multiple things, we're wearing multiple hats. But one of the things that I wish that I did have was those life skills, those important life skills that are related to finances, because we didn't have that. And I shouldn't blame my parents. They can't teach past what they didn't know. And so with that, I just knew that I wanted something different from my life. I'm an introvert by nature, and that's hard for people to believe. But I think that introvert I've turned into something amazing because I learned how to start writing, dreaming big, looking beyond the four walls I was living in the not so great part of Houston then. It was probably considered the other side of the tracks, but for us, I think that was the grounding station for me to be able to become the woman that I am now and who I'm becoming. But there came with some trials and errors and some things and some decisions that we want to be adult before it's our time. And so I just made up in my mind that I wanted to leave home, became a mother very early on. It would have, I think that was another gift because everybody feels like that. Me becoming a mother was one of the greatest things that I've done. Yes, the accolades and all of the other things are great, but me becoming a mom really helped to center who I was. But I still didn't have those pivotal life skills that many of us have left home without. Those things that are going to help us to be financially successful for a lifetime. And there was always more there was always more month and more bills than money. And unfortunately we lost our place where we laid our heads. We became homeless. So it would have been okay if it was just myself. But becoming homeless with 2 kids, I think that is where I felt like I felt. But I had to realize, and what I looked at as a failure was going to be the jumpstart to a new financial paradigm and dynamic for myself. And so I remember having what Oprah Winfrey said, that ugly cry one night. My kids were sleeping, and I gave them the bed. I was sleeping on the floor. We were in that little one tight motel. And I was trying to make it as homey as I could. But sometimes you just start looking around and I'm like, this is my life. It would have been okay, like I said, if it was just myself. But being a mom, I did not want to create that same negative financial cycle. And I said it, and I was literally writing the life that I'm living right now. I was writing it sleeping on the floor. And I remember hearing Les Brown say something over and over again, and I just started writing it. It says, you have greatness inside of you. And I don't know if I was just trying to convince myself that I was great because I was crying, but they just got out of the bed. And sometimes you have that time where you're like, man, you just need something that you're why. And I don't know if they heard me crying, but they got up and just started to hug me. And that was the most healing moment of being homeless. And I told myself, and I remember looking at them and I said, I'm going to make you trust my children. I said, you're never going to understand what financial lack looks like because you're looking at it and it stops with me. And they were young, they didn't probably understand. They're like, okay, like they lay back down. And so for me, I wrote from the floor. I still have that journal where I wrote that. I wrote from the floor. And a lot of people are like, what did that mean? But for me, is that I'm going to create this is the lowest point that I'll ever be at. This floor will be the lowest thing, but it'll also be the thing that I stand on. And so I started to learn as much as I could. Going to the library, taking my children to the library, picking up everything, going to the internet, learning how to rebuild my credit. But again, we always have self-doubt, limiting beliefs. And I remember my birthday's coming up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I refuse to put this shady motel on my driver license. I will not get a driver license here. So that gave me a little bit more battery in my back. And I said to myself that I'm going to get us out of here, and I'm going to get us a new address. And I did that. But I had a plan with action. And when I got up with a fight that I have not been able to put down. And from there, when I got that new place, we jumped around like it was Disney World, all the things. But I said, it's still more for me to do. And I said, I had a bucket list. I said, what can I do to secure our future? And I said, one of the things is I remember going back at 17 and I said, I want to work for the government because I knew it was the stability there. And I literally did everything that I could. And the day that they called me and said that I got the job, that I was a new hire for the government, I literally cried because I knew that that was going to change everything for us financially. And that moment right there was the most funniest one because they said my first day of work was April 1st. And I'm like, is this a joke? Please don't joke with me, but I'm trying to change my life. But it was so funny when they said my first day was on April Fool. But I was just like, okay, are they playing with me? Because they don't understand how important
That's that cosmic mess right there.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
And all of those tears, there's other, they say the universe and, God or whoever you believe is just like, it's always the funniest thing. You can always see the light at the end of the tunnel. There can always, what did you say? You can then laugh at the moments that didn't feel so good, or you can smile at the moments that hurt you the most, but you can also heal through laughter. So that made me laugh. And I was like, this is going to be a part of my story that I started on April Fool's Day, but now telling you that, I say that smiling with every sense of me because it was the thing that changed my life in the greatest.
Oof. That is so jam-packed, juicy. I mean, there's so much in there.
So much.
Oh, there's so much. I'm so happy to hear your story being told from you. Because yes, we can read some stuff on a website. We can read here and that and the other. But watching you embody your story is so potent, is so powerful. And I know there are so many people out here who are watching and listening and who just got some light bulbs turned on, like, that could be me. I could do that. I could actually make a proclamation. I heard you say it was through trial, error, education, and everything in between. Yeah, there's somebody out there who's saying, that's me. Like, that's me. I'm on the floor right now. Oh, I get to just claim it, I will make you trust fund babies. I will change our address. And then boom and boom. And it is not lost on me that you said, I had a plan. Like it wasn't just I put it out there and was like, okay, I'll just wait for it. Like I had a plan. That is remarkable. And I know in financial literacy, that's something that a lot of people kind of get scared about and shy away from is like having the plan. Because who knows how to create the plan? You educated yourself, but a lot of people, they don't know how to create the financial plan in a way that makes sense for their lives. And it sounds like you were your own medicine. You met yourself right where you were and said, I'm not trying to go out here and do all of that. Right now, I need to change this address and I got a plan. And here we go. I
That's
need to
it.
get this job, secure it. And I did it. Listen, I'm just applauding. I'm applauding you and I'm applauding your resolve that this stops with me. Like all of this is
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
We're done. That's
I
incredible.
wanna preface so much for everyone out there watching you could feel it when Sharita is sharing. And we often call these nights where it's like that real ugly cry. That's a dark night of the soul, the darkest.
Mhm.
And we must go in it to then bloom out. But inside it, there also has to be some conviction for the actual change. And I'm just want to celebrate to what Stacè said. I heard so much in there, vision. And I'd just be curious of, because I think this is a question I get a lot. We do get a lot, Stacè and I, because I heard your desire, and the desire was stemming from my children, right? And how would you offer to someone that might really be in that dark night of the soul? And how do I even come up with the plan then? Like what was the thing that you maybe wrote down first, besides like the proclamations of, and this will be no more? Because this was like a well built out plan, which I'm going to get to your
Oh,
backdrop in a minute.
100%.
But this
100%.
was like,
Right. I think that one of the things that I would say is that tears are healing for the soul. And I think a lot of times people feel like they have to put on, especially with the amount of pressure from social media, colleagues, environments, family, that everything has to be all put together. I didn't have it all together. I just made up in my mind, and I knew that I couldn't change my financial behaviors with limiting beliefs and mindset. I mean, a negative mindset. And one of the things that I had was faith me in the decisions that I made before I even wrote that proclamation. Because a lot of times is when it's hard for people to continue to go, whether they say continue on or go on, because there's still things in the back of their mind like, you don't deserve to be here. That what about this thing that you did? It's not
Yeah.
even outside influences. The loudest distractions and noise is ourselves telling ourselves that we don't deserve to be here because of the decisions that we made. So it was important for me to be my own mirror. And it's okay to talk to yourself and say, self, I made a decision that got me here, but my decisions is not my destiny. Like they are a part of my story, but not the story. And that's what I had to keep telling myself, because although my children were my why, I was my me. It has to start with me first. I can't, I couldn't do the thing or the things that got us to a new address, or me to from 414, 384, and 584 credit scores to now 800s. It was a process, but I had to look at 414. I had to look at 384. I had to look at 58 and see where was I in the problem, and then face that and look back. I looked back. I peeked back there, but I didn't stay there and say, how did I get here? And then not blame my parents, because how would they teach something that I didn't know? Yes, it would have been great for their parents to have taught them. So it would have been a generational thing. Debt and wealth are generational. when someone has to say that this is it, that it stops with me. So for me, I said that I was saying it stops with me, not for just my family, but I was not going to keep throwing things away because I said that I didn't have the education to do, or I didn't have the knowledge, or I did. Because sometimes we hold on to the things that we didn't have, and then that makes us victims to our own mind. Because I was a victim to my own mind because I was playing a blame game. But how many days or nights was I going to keep crying about it? That's why sometimes it's okay to just cry it out, write it out, scream it out, just be frustrated with the whole thing. Because guess what? Those emotions unbottled up will manifest themselves in other ways. Negative behaviors, overspending, homelessness. It may not go to that extreme, but it's a hamster wheel that you never feel that you get off of. And so that's why I just said sometimes just writing things out and getting them out your mind, saying them, even if you record them and throw that recording away. But sometimes we just got to get that out of our head, get it out of our heart, get it out of our mind, and make sure that when we burn a bridge, that we don't look at it as regret. If that bridge is burned and you have moved on from it, I know when I tell people this, I left my government job after being homeless to start a business. And most people, including my family, they're like, did you know where you came from? I said, did you see how far I've come? This is not the end. If I was able to pick myself off the floor with no address with 2 kids, I'm not scared of entrepreneurship. I'll just go back to work. So for me, it gave me something. So that's why I said, although hitting financial rock bottom is probably not the most highlight of my journey or story thus far, but it gave me a level of resilience that I can rely on me and that it was okay. Because who wants to say that you're in finance? You just told the people that when you made an introduction. I had to stick with myself. So even I don't have it all figured out. Even when I was crafting my own story and what am I going to say to people? Why am I so passionate about this work? Something came in my mind and was trying to remind you know where you came from. Are they going to listen to you? You hit financial rock bottom. You didn't come from wealth. You didn't have this. You did all the things. So why should we listen to you? I started to play those things in my mind. But then I started talking them out and started writing them out. And I said, you know what? I'm going to write this and tell people my truth. And I put it on the internet. And I said, you know what? This is for me, not for anybody else. This is my declaration that I will tell every platform, every time I get an opportunity, that I will tell this story. So that way my mind and my emotions won't keep me from helping somebody else through my story and my journey. And that's what I did. And who knew that so many people were going to resonate with that one post that I made? I said, you know what? I hit financial rock bottom, but I'm going to teach you how I've gotten here. I'm going to show you how I've been able to go from government assistance to working with the government and having my parent company winning government contract. So I've been in every portion of the government, and to be able to see the same from being on public assistance to now me telling through writing to the government while they should do business with my parent company, how much they're going to pay you. Do you understand what that full circle looks like? So this is why I do the work that I do. This is why I share my story. And I tell the good, bad, and the not so great, because I don't want people to think that I just landed here. And I think people see the end result, but they don't see the pain, the tears, the sleepless night. They don't see all of those things. They don't see you betting on yourself, going after things, because most those things are not pretty. No one wants to show. Everybody wants to show the highlight reels. So I said, you know what? I'm going to show them the real. And I don't have it figured out. I don't have it figured out, but I can teach you from what I was, because I wish I had those things before I made many decisions. And I think this is why this feels like a retreat and probably one of the best interviews that I've done, because you thrilled, you made me feel welcome from the first email. And so I think that's where people resonate with people, when people know it's really genuine and that you really want to be able to bring something to be able to help them go on. Because I've been there. I've wondered and worried about, will I ever get over homelessness? Will my children go through it? The worst thing for me was not me being homeless. Full transparency, I've never shared this on any other media. And like she said, I've done media in every facet. But I want to tell somebody else who may be watching this. The scariest thing for me was not homeless. It was not financial lack. I could have done that by myself. I probably would have stayed homeless without them a little bit longer because you can do it with, but when you have two others who are relying on you for everything, my scariest thing is for me to lose them because no one knew I was homeless. That was the scariest thing for me to know that I could lose them, my why. But I had to realize that that was another thing that they were a part of this so that they could be an extension to say, my mom changed our financial paradigm, and her me is my why, and this is why she's here. And so I'm tearing up because my son sent me a message over here. Sorry, y'all. And he has
No,
no
don't
idea this
apologize.
podcast. He said, "Mom, you're the greatest person I know." I just got this shit. Sorry.
Whoa.
He said, "Mom, you're the greatest person I just literally got this message." Sorry. He just told me that. So it just made you think that no matter what you do and what you do for others will show up at the greatest moments, right? When you least expect it. Because I wasn't expecting.
Oh,
And
Sharita.
I was
Oh,
sorry. I was not expecting that.
no
You
apologies.
know, please don't apologize.
We don't
This
take
couldn't
many
be more
sorries
beautiful.
on this show. And
Uh-uh.
beyond you
No.
being an inspiration, I am wrapping you like just
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
because Stacey and I get real fired up about the nonsense on social media and people only
Yeah.
sharing the highlight reels and like, look at me, and then putting a filter and a mask on all of this nonsense. And it's like,
Absolutely.
thank you. Thank you for the bravery and the vulnerability to just
Yeah.
break your heart wide open and say, y'all, this is where I started. I'm just blown
Yeah.
away by you.
This is going to change. This is going to change so much for so many people. Like it's changing something for me right now. Like on the inside, I feel things moving and shifting. This,
Thank you.
I mean,
And can I just also put in that today, when this will be airing, is Juneteenth.
I feel free. So I understand what freedom means. My whole thing was that I've never lived without in my life, prior to as a kid. Like I tell people all the time, it was hard for us. I'm proud of my mom, because she did what she could. But there was always so much darkness. Because imagine living in a home for 9 months with no light. So homelessness didn't really scare me. So that's why a lot of people, there's like, how did you make it? I didn't tear up about those things because I became tough. Because environment and all of those things just taught me that, even when my back is against the wall, to stay in the ring. And so I tell people this, that freedom is amazing. Financial freedom is amazing. But having time freedom it's nothing like it. So use that time to set yourself free from limiting beliefs. You don't have to quit your job to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to, it's not all or nothing. And I see so many people on the internet tell people, if you're serious about your passion, you got to go all in.
Blech,
Let
I
me tell you,
can't.
you can't.
Oh, thank you.
Not all the internet
Oh.
tell you how to. You can be inspired by others, including myself, but your journey is your journey alone. Freedom is a gift. Release negative thoughts, negative mindsets that you can't do it. But don't feel like that you have to free yourself from your jobs to live your dream. Let your employer be your silent partner for as long as you need to, and then decide what your corporate release date is, because then you give yourself freedom to walk away in confidence. I did not just quit my government job. I had 2 years of my expenses saved. I had excellent credit scores, and I had money to invest into my business and into my passions. And even if there was not a plan B for me, I knew that my gifts and my talents and skill set could be monetized in other ways before I could go back to work. And for those who think about that, because I get this all the time, the most broken thing that you can do is to sit in fear of what if. You
Mm,
don't have enough time.
mm,
That's always six phase.
mm,
The what ifs and what if I could have done this? I could have made my better financial decision. But I now look at my life and says and tell me that that floor is the reason why I went from the floor to floor. You said that's I tell people that all the time because I wrote the life that I'm living right now. When the BBC flew to my home, they said you kept every letter that you wrote to the credit bureau. Every letter. Every denial letter that I got from the bank. I kept everything because I didn't realize that it wasn't for me. It was for others to see what you can do with a made up. I made up in my mind that if I got off that floor and I was able to make something from it, whether I worked for the government or I worked for myself, I was going to tell somebody else, even if only one person listens. I didn't know that hundreds and even thousands now would be able to resonate with what I'm saying, even if they didn't have the same trajectory. But we all have a paradigm that we want to be able to build something sustainable that goes beyond finances. And I heard something from Warren Buffett last year that I want to share with you all. That I thought it was the most wealthiest thing lesson that I've learned on this side of my life now. He said the lowest form of wealth is money. And that changed me. I wrote that everywhere sitting in that chair. Because he said that once you stop chasing money and you start realizing why you're here and that you have a greater purpose inside of you, that the freedom that that gives you to live, even when the things are not, life is not so great, you will understand that money's just a tool. And the wealthiest thing that you can generate is for you to do the things that you do effortlessly that help to create a solution, whether it's on a job or in a business. And so those are things that I hope that the listeners will take. Yes, budgeting and saving and investing, those are things that that I highly recommend. You should always do them. Because one of the things is I didn't save myself. And so I always tell people to be your own superhero and save yourself. Budget your money. Because I was in the trunk of my finances. I had to admit that to myself. I wrote that when I was sleeping on that floor. I wasn't even in the back seat or a passenger, for instance, as they say. I was in the trunk of my finances. But now being in control of my financial destiny allows me to be able to be in a situation where I'm able to hire people and give them and be a great place to work and understand and tell them that I don't want my vision to be the only income that you have. And I know that sounds crazy because most CEOs are like, no, I want all of your attention. But I want them to be able to birth the gifts that are inside of them. And so those are things that when you start to really think about what wealth is, it goes far beyond the bank account. Those are important, but it's a tool. And once I learned that, that's what I teach my clients. They were not trying to sell this women, but who knew? Me just being transparent and telling people. More men were like, oh, hey, I want to be able to learn more about what you're doing because I've never seen a woman so passionate about being honest about the financial mistakes. We didn't have it figured out. I'm not supposed to be here. Statistically, it's not supposed to be here, but because of the financial decisions that I made, I'm not supposed to be in a position where I'm being an expert because I look at other experts who went before me and I'm like, how did I get, like, how am I here?
mm,
But I'm truly, although cliche, will set you free. But you being you and is the wealthiest thing that you can do, but it's your greatest superpower. And I feel that I'm a superhero, and even though I'm an introvert, but my work makes me a superhero. And that's what I want people to know about, that my superhero create financial superhero.
I mean,
we
we didn't know we were creating a temple or a church space.
What?
But
It's hard for me to sit still right now. I'm just saying.
I know.
I need
Welcome
my
to the
church
retreat
fan.
of Dr. Sharita and Stacey
Thank
and Jill.
you. Thank you. Thank you for entering the still temple. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
We'll see you all in person.
I mean, listen, we're going to be chatting.
Wow.
We are going to be
At
chatting.
the still retreat.
There we will.
This is really difficult to close this because we can keep going, but you all will get to come next week when we have another episode with Dr. Sharita. This is a difficult one to close out because we could literally just keep rolling.
I know.
Wow, I'm so blown away. This has just been, I'm like literally on the edge of my seat, just like receiving so much wisdom from this and your share. And I know everyone else, please leave in the comments, and please connect with Sharita as well. You'll have all that information below in the show notes. Wow, I'm kind of speechless, and we are just so thrilled to have had some time with you, Sharita. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This
Such
was
a
great.
gift. Such a
More to
gift.
come.
Yes.
We'll
yes,
see you
for
all
sure.
next week. Same time, same place. Wednesday at 11 Eastern. Bye for now, I guess.
See you later.
Bye.